Here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about this concept of there's only one thing and we're all it. There's only one thing, y'all, and we are all it. That means me and you and you and you and you and you and you and your dogs and the trees and the clouds and the ocean and the planets and the solar systems and the galaxies and the clusters of galaxies and the whole thing. If you believe that there's other universes, those two. There's only one thing and we're all it. And that one thing is energy. If you want to be a little bit more hippy-dippy, that one thing is consciousness. So the animating force inside of me, the very thing that makes me alive, is the same thing that makes you alive. So nice to be reminded. So the analogy that I use for this idea that there's only one thing and we're all it is that we are all different waves on this giant ocean of consciousness, this giant ocean of energy, right? So I'm the wave that looks like Emily, and you're the wave that looks like Susan, and you're the wave that looks like Caroline. But we're all these individual waves on this giant ocean of consciousness. And what most of us have access to is our left brain, critical mind, wave mentality, small self. So in the Vedas, we don't talk about it as like ego or super consciousness or any of that. It's really simple. It's just there's small self and big self. There's small self, which is the wave, and there's big self, which is the ocean. Small self is individuality, big self is totality. And it's one of the reasons why I love this lineage so much is that it's celebrating both. It's celebrating the simultaneity of individuality and totality, of left brain and right, of critical mind and creative mind. And I love this because, again, I don't think that nature makes mistakes. When you look at a human brain, it splits right down the middle, 50-50. And so when you look at our brain, it's 50% individuality and 50% totality. And if we try to pretend that one or the other doesn't exist, or if we try to put too much stock in one of those sides, then the other side atrophies. And then we're running a one-legged race. And for so many of us, we have been running this one-legged race of thinking, taking action, achieving, making money so we could be happy in the future. It's all been left brain, individuality, ego, very masculine energy, very hard charging. No good deed goes unpunished. If I don't do it, no one will. And what meditation allows us to do is to tap into this whole other hemisphere of our brain, to tap into this connectedness, to tap into this collective intelligence, to tap into creativity itself, to remind ourselves viscerally, physically, every day, twice a day, that there really is only one thing and we're all it. And y'all, here's the beautiful byproduct of that becoming a visceral reality versus an intellectual idea. Because we all know it, right? We all know, like, do unto others as you would have done unto you. Like, we get that intellectually. But we ain't doing it. We are not doing it. We are all stressed right now. Let me not make blanket. Many people are stressed right now. Many people are looking for an enemy. Lots of people are fighting and blaming. And this person says this and this person says that, and I can't believe this person said that, and it's this person's fault. And when we do that, it's just, we're strengthening that appearance of separateness. Imagine being on the beach, looking out at the ocean and seeing all of these different waves. Those waves are not illusions. Those waves are real, but they appear separate. The waves appear separate. They're not actually separate. And the waves are not an illusion. Those are real waves. You could surf on them. You could be drowned by them. One could take you under. They're real, but they appear separate from the ocean. They appear separate from each other. Similarly, our egos, our individuality, our left brain, our personality, this is real. When this body dies, there will be things that die with it that will never be replicated again. There are things about Emily Fletcher that when this bag of skin becomes irrelevant and goes back into totality, there will be this unique flavor, this unique concoction and cocktail of ocean will not exist again. So the individuality is real. It's not an illusion of separateness. It's an appearance of separateness, right? The wave is never not the ocean. The ocean is never not the wave. Both things are real simultaneously, and the waves appear separate when they're actually connected. So this analogy here, I know I'm spending a lot of time on it, but it's a good one, and it's really powerful because if we start to see our fellow human beings as fellow waves on the giant ocean of consciousness, and if we start to see our fellow humans as an extension of ourselves, and if we start to feel their pain as our own and celebrate their successes as our own, then we start to tap into this oceanic quality. We start to tap into this expanded consciousness that we all have. Again, we all know to do unto others as we would have done unto ourselves. But until that becomes a visceral reality, it's still really easy to hurt someone else and think that you're not hurting yourself. Until this idea that there's only one thing and we're all it becomes your visceral reality, it's very easy to be jealous of other people and think that their success is somehow taking away from your success. It's very easy to think, oh, well, they have a different political party than me, so they must be the enemy. Or they voted for this person, so they must be the enemy. Or they are believing this person, so they must be the enemy. It's times like these that it is so important that we get still, that we get quiet, that we de-excite. And if we want to go back to this wave on the ocean analogy, those of you who have ever been scuba diving, you're going to know what I'm talking about. But when you're scuba diving, in the beginning, it's really turbulent and there's wind and waves and it's scary and you're like, oh no, I don't know what's going to happen when I go underwater. And then eventually you get brave and you go underwater, and it's still pretty scary because your brain is saying, I should die. You should be dead. You're underwater. You should be breathing. You should be dead. And then you get a little panicky and a little anxious. And that's like the beginning of people's meditation careers, when the stress comes up and out. And they're like, oh no, I don't want to feel these feelings. But we just keep getting still. We keep getting quiet. We keep de-exciting. We keep accessing our most subtle states of consciousness. And then we get to tap into that visceral reality that there is only one thing and we are all it. And instead of being on the turbulent, choppy waters of our left-brained surface mind, we are accessing this beautiful, still, calm, expansive, oceanic, collective intelligence. And when you go to the deep blue or you go to the bottom of the ocean, it is so still, it is so expansive, it is so quiet, and all you have is you and your breath. And you start to realize just how big the ocean is, right? And then we don't stay down there forever. We meditate to get good at life, not to get good at meditation. It's not about going deep and staying deep. That's called a coma, right? Then we got to come back up. We got to come back to the surface. We got to come back into our left brain. We have to come back into our individuality. That's why we came into this body, so that the totality could experience itself as individuality. And so then we're back up here on the surface, and there's waves and turbulence, and this wave looks like it's a 3-foot wave and I'm only a 1-foot wave, so I better get out of its way. Or this wave is only a 3-foot wave and I'm a 5-foot wave, so it better get out of my way. And it's really easy to go back into that small self, me, I'm separate from you, I'm better than you. And then the challenge is, how do I let this wave remember that it is also the ocean? How do I keep that connection? How do I keep that right brain? How do I keep that bigness with me, even with my eyes open? And this is the beautiful byproduct that comes from a daily practice. Every day, twice a day, you close your eyes, you go in, you remind yourself that you are the ocean pretending to be the wave. You are God pretending to be human. And then you come back up and you open your eyes, and then you're human, but you realize that you're not just that wave, that a piece of you is still connected to the ocean. And after enough times of wave, ocean, eyes open, eyes closed, grounding and being, performing action, there starts to be this real blending that occurs. It doesn't make you perfect, it doesn't make you special, it doesn't make your emotions go away, but it does make life a lot easier.